I move
And
4.3.
moving on to 4.3. 4.3, Resolution 2011-174, approving a partner agreement with Minneapolis Parks Foundation and establishment of a non-appointed Citizens Advisory Committee process for preliminary visioning and implementation study of the Waterworks site in downtown Minneapolis. And it looks like we have a report here.
Chair Tab, committee members, the Waterworks site is a site that you may remember as the former Fuji site in downtown Minneapolis. It's a pivotal site in downtown, not only for the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, but for the city as a whole, and represents a really important gateway from the downtown to the riverfront corridor. It was purchased by the Park Board over 2 decades ago to build on a portion of the site, West River Parkway. What remains is the building and a portion of that parking lot that once served the restaurant, Fuji restaurant, that was there. The site has a much deeper history going back to the milling era of Minneapolis. There was a mill on the site. There are mill ruins that exist there today, as many of you know. It was also a waterworks site, which I incorrectly stated in the staff memo. If you happen to read that, I stated it as a hydro plant, but it actually was a waterworks site that served city water. It brought city water to the city at the time that was operational toward the beginning or toward the latter part of the 19th century. The opportunity is really to create a signature element on this site as far as the park system goes, and it really is a tremendous opportunity, I think. The project is viewed by the Parks Foundation, which is really the organization that is behind the effort currently to look at and study the possibilities, both from a design and operational or use standpoint, as well as a financial feasibility standpoint. We see it as a preliminary step in a reuse strategy. It's not a master planning effort that we're talking about this evening. It really is a preliminary visioning and strategic study of the property. It's relatively short in duration, 3 to 4 months as we see it. Its primary intention is to explore multiple ideas for the property, for the site, and then test those ideas for implementation feasibility and community excitement. The partnership arrangement is outlined in the staff memo. I'll just outline or highlight those. The foundation would establish a contractual relationship with the consultants for completion of the project. The foundation would raise the full amount of funds necessary to complete the effort and compensate the project consultants. They would work collaboratively with the Park Board to direct the work of the project consultants and actively participate in the community engagement process. They would also work collaboratively with the Park Board on public relations and project communication efforts. The Park Board, as part of this agreement, would approve project consultants' scope of work, would organize and facilitate the community engagement process, would review and approve interim and final deliverables prepared by the consultants, work collaboratively with the foundation on public relations and project communications, and provide the foundation and project consultants with any pertinent background materials, base mapping, surveys, etc., that we have in our possession. The partner agreement that's enclosed in your packet has been reviewed by council. So that's had that review. We think that this is really an exciting first step in looking at the Waterworks site. It has sat relatively vacant for 20 years. The time is right. The city has built itself around this site and up to this site, and the opportunity now for us to think about how we use this as the pivotal location that it really is and a signature place within the city and within the park system is pretty exciting. I want to introduce Cecily Heinz with the Minneapolis Parks Foundation. Cecily obviously is the president of the foundation and the primary partner with which this agreement pertains. Cecily, you want to say a few words?
Commissioners, I just wanted to say that Minneapolis Parks Foundation is very excited about this project, and over the past couple of years we've been very interested in this site and have worked with a number of other organizations that are also very interested, including the Minneapolis Riverfront Corporation and many of the other riverfront-focused organizations. We are really excited about the project and really proud to be partnering with you on this.
The recommendation that's contained in your staff memo talks about really a couple of things. One is because of the preliminary nature and short duration of the project, to engage the broadest spectrum of the community as part of this effort, and that a non-appointed Citizens Advisory Committee be established for this project. Secondly, to obviously approve and engage the partner agreement that is drafted within your staff packet, or within your packet. Any questions?
President Irwin, I think you're first.
Okay, thank you, Chair Tab. Just a quick question and then a comment. There's been some discussion that the footprint of the design would include other lands other than only the Fuji site, and right now in the document that you have, it pretty much focuses only on the former Fuji site. It doesn't talk about going towards the Hennepin Avenue Bridge, which I think was some of the intent. So if that is part of the intent, then you might want to change this to reflect that. And that's the question. Mm-hmm. So is that correct? I mean, that
actually is the intent. And if that isn't clear in what we have with the agreement, we should expand that. The intent is really to go to the Parkway, up to at least the 3rd Avenue Bridge, so that we capture kind of all the contextual chances we have to really make this site even better, to look at all those pieces.
So I don't think that's obvious from the documents. So someone on the committee may want to change that to make sure that's reflected in the document itself. And the second thing is I just want to thank the Parks Foundation, because I think they started this effort and they're funding this effort, and the potential is there that I think the contribution they may offer may be greater than only the design piece of this. And I think they're going to continue to fundraise for this, and it's long overdue. I mean, this board has talked about this particular site for so long. So thank you to the Parks Foundation, and someone on the committee might want to do something. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Young, Vice President Young.
I'm something more than you. I agree. I was concerned. I thought it was to go to the 3rd Avenue Bridge, and I want to make sure that postal land and the one little space there on that north end of the postal space is included. So I think that does need to be approved. But I have a couple of other questions before I make that amendment, and that is, I thought we had a donor who came forward with the idea that it wasn't necessarily just maybe a seed was planted at the foundation, but I thought he came forward. And so before Cecily answers that part, I thought his contribution was certainly bigger than 4 months of planning, even though I know he was supporting planning. But so I have a question about raise the full amount of funds necessary to complete the project. Well, which project? The 3 or 4 months, or the big kahunga for 5 to 10 years?
The way that we're looking at this piece of the project is only for this initial step. And the thought is that we try and explore a broad range of ideas for the property and the surrounding area, and test those from a feasibility standpoint and implementation standpoint, do a preliminary test to understand what we throw on the wall, what might stick from a feasibility standpoint. And for us then to take a breather at that point, and for it then to be able to come back to the park board and suggest, this is what we have, this is the realm within which we think we're working.
Well, I know we weren't going to discuss the amount of money, and I'm not going to discuss the amount of money, but I think it was bigger than what it should take for a 3 or 4 month strategic planning process. So I don't understand why we need to find more funds. I just don't understand the raise the full amount. I thought we had the amount to move forward with this.
Commissioner Young, what the Minneapolis Parks Foundation and one of our board members who is a major donor for this project is committing at this point is to fund the the cost necessary for this phase of the project.
Right.
However, and who knows what's going to come out of this, because it's a number of alternatives, and feasibility will be looked at carefully, both from a long-term financial, ecological, et cetera. So, who knows what size of project it would be. However, Minneapolis Parks Foundation full board is very interested in this project and this site, and we have the strong expectation, as well as some of our major donors, who would want to drive this to a full implementation once we get through the process.
I don't think either of you are understanding me. I realize we have to raise a lot of money for the long haul, for the larger picture. I thought we already had a specified amount to get the planning process started, and which I think is the 3 to 4 months. And the amount that I had been told that we were donated is far more than 3 to 4 months. So I'm questioning why it's in there that the foundation has a responsibility to raise the full amount of funds necessary. It says to complete the project.
It's this project. It's this first phase.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But you've already raised it. You already have it.
Right, we do have it. We have raised it.
And if I could add, the amount that has been raised or identified by the Parks Foundation as the donation is just the amount that required for this 3 to 4 month process.
Okay, I must be semantics or something else that I'm not getting here. We're not. I'll let it go. I'm just going to let it go. That's my new mantra anyway since I've been to Seattle. Let it go.
Thank you. Commissioner Vreeland.
Again, one of the members of the Parks Foundation has certainly expressed an interest in a much larger project than just the study, and that's his prerogative to go through the study process and decide whether that's something that he considers important. I have spoken with him, and he is very committed to this project, and what that means is totally up to him. And his work in conjunction with the foundation and other donors. So again, this is just a great way to start to really gather public support for a project, and I think really defining this wonderful public vision that some of us are thinking about, and to really provide the traction to get that idea out and vetted.
If I may, I would just add that beyond that one individual on our board, we do have a strong commitment on our board beyond that. So we do believe that this would be a significant and a successful fundraising effort. As I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of other organizations and a lot of people in the community that I think would like to see a vibrant public space here. So
Not questioning that. I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning that at all. It's a wording issue.
And as a board member of the Minneapolis Riverfront Partnership, there's a great deal of interest, and our board has really see this as a critical site. And as a member of the St. Anthony Falls Heritage Board, we have a great plan in the power of the falls, and this is kind of a missing piece. So this is really a potential gateway to all the great work that has been approved and is ready to go, and could be a real linchpin for implementing the gateway to this great historical treasure we have in the Central Riverfront.
Thank you, Commissioner Vreeland. Commissioner Kummer.
Thank you, Chair Tab. I'll say the usual caveat that I'm not a member of this committee. However, my curiosity was very piqued when you talk about the post office property. Are you talking just about the flat land, or are you actually considering those little alcoves along the building there that, as I recall, when that building was put in, were designed to and hoped to be little shoppies and restaurants or whatever along there. And however, I was quite dismayed when, I think it was last year, bars were put in those openings. And I'm assuming if they went in, they could come out. Maybe they're on swing hinges or whatever. But is that Are you telling me that that's actually part of this oversight or this plan? I mean, I hope it
Do you want to go
is.
ahead and answer that?
Chair Tab, the extent of the project that we've talked about really goes to the 3rd Avenue Bridge. So discussion about the post office and how that arcade fits into this site certainly will be part of the discussion, but it's not going to be part of the analysis for reuse of the Fuji site.
Okay, I guess.
Do you want to make a change to the actual wording in the location here so that we're clear about what it is that we're defining?
Yeah, and I think what I would suggest, the way we could define the boundaries is essentially from 5th Avenue to 3rd Avenue from, pardon me? Portland to 3rd, and from, what would that be, 1st to West River Parkway, or to the river. Well, not to the river, to West River Parkway.
To the river.
To the river, okay, to the river.
I would make that amendment.
Which we don't need in committee.
Okay. Do we want, I guess we need to take a vote on that amendment. And do you have the wording written so that we'll have that for the minutes, Len, later on?
You still have lights.
Restated,
Pardon?
restate it, please.
Portland to 3rd. The property known as the Waterworks site, referred to as the Fuji site, located from Portland Avenue to 3rd Avenue, and I didn't hear the first street.
Was it
First Street
to the river?
to the river
Okay.
in downtown Minneapolis.
All those in, well, I guess we can take, do we take a,
There's
Hold on
still,
that.
you still have lights.
okay. Commissioner Cummer?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No lights, okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor of the amendment made on the location?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Commissioner Irwin.
Thank you.
President Irwin.
Thank you, Chair Tab. I just
Excuse
want
me.
to say, some of you may know that Cecily has stepped down as the executive director of the foundation. I think we should just recognize that she's spent years working with the foundation to generate money for the park system, and the foundation is finally coming through with a number of projects, and I think a lot of the work that she did is coming to fruition. So she's going to stay on the board and stay involved, but she should just be recognized for the effort that she's made over these years. So thank you very much, Cecily.
Call the question.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, I just have a couple of things. May I just ask, I know that, again, Commissioner Veland mentioned that this is in a historic area, so will that be taken into consideration as we move forward with the kinds of planning that we're doing?
Chair Tab, absolutely.
Okay.
The fact that this is a very historic district and really steeped in history becomes one of the foundational pieces in looking at its future.
You know what,
Thank you
Commissioner
so
Tab, we
much.
got to do something different because I did call the question.
You have to be
You have to be
recognized.
recognized.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Vice President,
No, keep asking your questions.
no, that was it.
Okay.
Vice President Young.
Call the question.
I'd like to call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It passes.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.